Hello, hello, hello. Happy Friday.
Good morning. Happy Friday.
Friday. This makes me
Shannon,
so happy to see all these people.
do you have a Friday dance, Shannon?
Oh, I have many dances, but
That's a good one.
it changes every Friday. Do you?
Maybe the floss.
Okay. All right. All right. All right. All right. I'm going to have to pop into your booth and you're going to have to show me.
You got it.
All right. Well, we will get started here. All righty. So, well, thanks again, everyone, for showing up to our second webinar. I am Shannon Dobbins, and I am joined by Peter Meyer. And in today's meeting, we are going to go over a few tips and tricks and other really good information that's just good to know leading up to this event to make sure that you have a wonderful event. Mostly I'll be concentrating on the Hopin platform and setting up some technical aspects just to make sure that you are good to go. We're going to talk about what browsers are going to work best for the platform, how to make sure that your camera and mic are going to work properly. And I'm going to get into more detail about the big question from the last webinar was about streaming into your booth and how that actually works. I did a deep dive and I only have good information for you about that. All right. Peter, do you have anything to add before I get into it?
I needed to unmute myself. I just want to say thank you, everybody, for participating, and also thank you for your support. It's been a very nice thing for us. Thank you.
Yeah, and it's been my pleasure getting to know everyone here. There's been many emails going back and forth, and I'm really happy to see the engagement. And I'm really happy and excited to be a part of Strategic HR 2020. One thing I want to remind you all of is one thing that we're doing as Strategic HR to increase your booth traffic is we've added a charity component to it. Many of you know this already, but I just wanted to kind of remind you as well, and for anybody that might not know about it. So to encourage booth traffic, we're making a charitable donation to 4 charities up to a $5,000 cap. We will donate $1 for every business card an attendee drops into your booth. We've already communicated this to attendees, and we're going to continue to communicate this to them. The charities that we're donating to are the Suicide Prevention Hotline, Girls Inc. of New Hampshire, the Fulton Theater, and SODI. It's the Science of Diversity and Inclusion Initiative, which is affiliated with the University of Chicago. Okay, so hot tip number 1. This might seem like, it's a no-brainer, but log into your platforms early. So the 2 platforms that we're mainly working off of are Hopin and the online community platform CrowdStack. CrowdStack is open now, so you are able to go in and set up your profile and start engaging with attendees now. If any of you have any issues with registering with that, let me know. I already received feedback about a potential VPN firewall issue. If you run into that, reach out to me and I will work with you to help figure out a solution to that. Hopin, you will be receiving a link on Monday to go in and create your profile. And to be able to bookmark the page. However, you won't be able to actually get inside your booth on Monday, but you can do that little prep work ahead of time. On Wednesday, the first day of the conference at 6 a.m., that is when you will get first access into your booth. So your booths will be live Wednesday starting at 6 a.m. So you can get in there before any of the conference programming begins to kind of get acquainted and to click around. Okay, so what browsers are going to work best for you? I personally use Google Chrome, and Hopin recommends Google Chrome, Firefox, or Apple Safari. Nowhere does it list Internet Explorer. So if you're using that, maybe try to download a different a browser. That will be, I'm not sure what the difference is, but try to stick to those recommended browsers. Okay, so now I'm going to share my screen because when I was getting accustomed to the Hopin app and I was trying to broadcast from my booth, I ran into an issue. So if I ran into it, you might run into it as well. So let me. Share my screen. This is what I need, elevator music. Okay, hopefully all of you can see my screen. Okay, so in order to be able to broadcast in your booth, or if you are doing a roundtable, lunchtime roundtable discussion, the first thing I want you to check is I want you to go up to the top of your browser. At least this is how I know it works for Chrome. You might have to do some digging if you're using another browser, but if you're using Chrome, go click on this padlock, and it's going to bring up a brief summary of your security settings. And what I want you to make sure is that camera and microphone are on allow. Usually the default is the ask, which it never asked me if I could allow my camera or microphone when I was attempting to broadcast from my booth the very first time. So make sure that these are on allow. If they don't appear quickly here, go into site settings, and then you'll see the full list of permissions, and you'll see microphone and you'll see camera. So just set those to allow, and you'll be good to go. Oh, I am hearing some feedback. So if anybody is unmuted, you could please just mute yourself. That'd be great. Thank you. Okay. All right, so next I am going to show you and give you a little bit more detail about broadcasting from your booth. So I'm going to go to the exhibit hall, and we are going to use my booth as the example. Okay, so when an attendee arrives to your booth, they will land on your Google slide deck or your video. But if you are broadcasting, if you're in the middle of a broadcast and they're entering your booth, they will automatically see whatever you're broadcasting. They won't have a choice to go away from it. You will be bright and center. Bright and center? You know what I'm saying. And so let's see. They won't see, only you will see this toggle to turn on live sessions. But if you want to turn on your broadcasting live session to the booth, this is where you'll go to turn that on. So I'm going to click toggle for live session. And then this button will become clickable, share audio and video. I'm going to try it, see what it will say. And so since I'm broadcasting on Zoom right now, my video is not showing up, but you would have a preview of what you look like. And you could set, if you had a different microphone, you could set that, your camera. And then you would click OK, and then you would be broadcasting from your booth. As you're broadcasting, you have a few options. So you can, attendees can request to join you on that call, on that live broadcast. And you can also share your screen, and how that will look is your face will still appear, and then a second box of what you're sharing will appear. If attendees are having a hard time seeing what you are sharing, you can tell them to double click on your screen share, and it'll open up bigger for them to see. So yeah, I hope that answers some of the questions regarding the transmitting live from your booth. If you were doing a lunch roundtable, this functionality is pretty much the same thing. So if you can do this, you can also do, you will be able to perform perfectly with the lunch and roundtables. And if you are one of those people doing a lunch roundtable, don't worry, I have not forgotten about you. I will be reaching out today to give you more information and some early access to play around with a dress rehearsal. So I will be in touch. Let's see. In the checklist, I sent out a checklist yesterday, and I sent out 3 links for system tests. I sent 3 different ones because they all provide something a little bit different, and kind of gives you a good broad specifics on what may be right with your system setup, or maybe some things that you should look into leading up to the event, and touching base with your IT department. I think right now I'm going to take some questions on what I have just covered. And then after that, we'll get into some tips and tricks that Peter has prepared about just, best practices for navigating this virtual world of a virtual conference and a virtual expo hall, and how to really make the most of them. Peter, can you see the chat if there's any questions so far? Trying to get back to there.
Sure, I'll take a look. Is everybody unmuted?
If they'll have the opportunity to unmute themselves.
Okay.
So if anybody has any questions that they'd like to.
Well, I think it's Jolie that asked the questions. Will presenter be given similar training? You and I are going to be available next Monday and Tuesday at the help desk, and if anybody would like to, and I don't know if Jolie, you're asking about presenters specifically, or you're asking about people that are going to be in your booth, like booth attendees. So yeah. I think if we separate it, trainers are certainly getting their own training for everything. And then booth attendees, if they're not part of these webinars, they can contact us directly.
Yeah, my first question was about whether or not the people who are presenting are getting familiar with this,
Yes,
so that
they certainly
exactly
are.
how to do their slides if they're doing slides and whatnot. And then the other question I had was, with a previous event, I had to go in and not on Hopin, it was on a different platform, but I had to assign people to our booth in order for them to have the functionality of our booth. And so I didn't know if by way of being registered with our organization, if they're already booth attendees, like as if they're behind our table, you know what I mean, in real life.
Yeah,
That automatically
that's a
is-
great question. So the way that we load our registrations in is they do get sorted by your badge type. So essentially your registration automatically gets tagged with you are you're an exhibitor, you're a sponsor. So that should happen automatically.
Perfect. So they would be able to, if one of our folks was in our booth, they would be able to toggle that presentation thing on so they could welcome people to our
Yes,
booth. Perfect. Okay, cool. Thank you.
you're welcome. All right, anything else?
If there are no other questions right now, let me go over just some thoughts that I've had about staying engaged. And you've all received the attendee list, and you'll get an updated attendee list. We're up to 537 attendees. I think it's a strong suggestion that you would glean that, go over that group and people that you know or prospects that you have within that. You would be thinking about ways to communicate with them prior to the event to invite them into your booth and have discussions during the event, or to figure out how to connect with them. So use that list judiciously, please. That the question was asked the other day about, and I think it was Donnie that asked the question about, where is the expo only in a certain time period? No, the expo is really all day. There is an assigned time period each day that is exclusive to the expo, but again, people wander around and they will take that opportunity. They may not want to go to the workshop. They will come over to your booth. So have somebody there. It would be my recommendation at all times to kind of have some great conversations. The video conferencing part of this, although it's a little bit heavy lifting, is an important component that we've added, and we'd like to make sure it works well, and we'd like to make sure that you folks engage in it. I would keep, if I were running the booth myself, I would keep that attendee list very handy. And when I recognize that somebody's over chatting at one of the workshops or one of the keynoters, I would make sure that I get engaged with them if they're a key prospect or a client of mine. I would also try my best throughout the course of the day to attend and learn as much of the content that's going on here, because that's the important. Bud has put together a fantastic group of keynoters and workshops that are world-class and are reaching subject matters that cover a lot of the important issues of today. So I think it's a great way for you to engage on some of the subject matter that if you learn via the event with some of these attendees, I think it would be beneficial to you. So when attendees are dropping business cards, and I think there's a way to keep a timely track of that, and also a timely follow-up. And the other part is that chat as much as you can. That's important too. And I don't know that I would want to say, in the middle of a keynote, or hey, drop by my booth now. I would be conscientious of not being, overly pushy, but I would let them know that I'm here, and I hope we have an opportunity to have a virtual drink together later today. So those are just ways to keep engaged. And I'll just say this, in the overview of a live event versus a virtual event, is that the engagement aspect falls to you to make sure that your booth participants are super engaged versus it being a little bit more passive where people are obviously mingling and walking by your booths at a live event. So it's quite different. The success that we've heard comes from the people that are engaged.
That's great. Thank you, Peter. I'm going to open it back up for more questions. Does anybody have any questions about the community platform? Any more questions about Hopin?
Hey, Shannon, this is Matt.
Matt.
If we're in our virtual booth and, you know, over working on email, I can't remember if you said, is there an audible sound when somebody enters the booth, or do you need to be looking for those visual cues?
That is a great question. I am not sure, but I can certainly find out for you.
Because if nobody stops by for a couple hours,
Right. Yeah.
pretty deep into emails.
Yeah, no, it would make sense for there to be a queue like that. I'll find out for sure, and I'll update the group.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Great question. Thank you. Mobile queue. Entering.
I have a quick question again.
Yeah.
The CrowdStack platform, we can go in there now, right? I haven't explored it yet.
Yes, absolutely. Go in now. There's chatter going on right now. You can also add things to your sponsor section as well. Try to get people engaged. So yeah, absolutely. Go for
Thank
it.
you.
Yeah. And feel free to create content too on that platform. You're able to make posts and polls on your own, or start your own discussions. So it's really there to help you communicate to the attendees before and after the event.
And, you know, either, you know, you folks or people that are a part of your booth over the next 3 days before the event, they should really feel free to email Shannon and I. We can do one-offs. We can, you know, if there's a glitch in something, we can try to manage those things. We'd love to be able to manage 95% of all people's questions prior to the grand opening on next Wednesday. So we'll be certainly available at our help desk throughout the duration of the event, but we'll also be super conscientious Monday and Tuesday if there are questions as people sort of log in to the community forum.
Can I jump in here for a second?
Yeah,
Becky
Becky.
Thompson, I work with Peter and Shannon here. I am not sure I'm even totally clear on Jolie's question. I know you addressed it about making sure that their folks have access to the booth. Do you have to, Shannon, are you giving people access?
It automatically happens when we merge the registrations. It gets sorted by what kind of an attendee you are. So if you're an attendee, you're not going to get access to a booth, but if you're a vendor, you will.
All right, we'll catch up on that later because I think I have a question still, but I'll wait until after.
Okay. All right. Well, if no one has any more questions, we will end there. Again, thank you so much for showing up. I hope this was helpful. Again, I am available anytime to help you with any questions or any issues that you may. Yes, Peter?
I'm just going to follow up with one thing.
Sure.
The question was asked, and I wish I remembered who asked the question. Can you get a checklist to us? That was sent out. We did a nice checklist, and it was a good reminder of us because normally what we would be doing is an FAQ kind of a thing at a live event, so that you did receive a checklist. There were links there for being able to view a lot of the tutorial pieces. And again, if you're not the person that's going to be in the booth, make sure that the people that are going to be in the booth have received that.
Yes, thank you. And we did add two videos to give you the perspective of both the attendee and the sponsor side of how that booth broadcast actually works. So it's always nice to have a visual, and I think it'll be really helpful for you. If not, let me know and I'll do better next time. All right, guys. Well, have a great Friday. Thank you again for taking the time to show up and listen and be engaged. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye.